Episode 2 opens with a flashback scene. Seol-Ah is at home, taking medication for anxiety, when her friend, Woo-Seok, calls. He informs her that Sang-jae has died aboard the ship and tells her she needs to come immediately. In the next scene, she arrives at the ship, identifies Sang-jae's body, and confirms his identity. Woo-Seok is a photographer. We then cut to the present, where Woo-Seok is still questioning Seol-Ah. Just then, Woo-Seok arrives. He asks Woo-Seok what he is doing there and inquires if he knows anything about Sang-jae, stating that he wishes to speak about him. He hands Woo-Seok his business card and leaves. In the following scene, Woo-Seok and Seol-Ah are at a bar, having drinks. Woo-Seok looks at the business card Woo-Seok had given him and notes that he is an insurance investigator. He wonders why Woo-Seok was making inquiries about Sang-jae. Seol-Ah explains that Sang-jae had taken out an insurance policy through his company, the proceeds of which were designated to go to her. Woo-Seok then recalls a flashback scene in which he was speaking with Sang-jae. Sang-jae had shown him a bottle of wine bearing a siren logo. Sang-jae had explained who the sirens were, figures from Greek mythology, mermaids who would use their singing and beauty to lure unsuspecting people living nearby, only to kill them afterward. Sang-jae had remarked that Seol-Ah wasn't entirely open with him. At times, he felt as though he didn't even know her. Yet, he had still taken out an insurance policy with her as the beneficiary. Back in the present, at the bar, Woo-Seok is deep in thought, reflecting on all of this. In the background, his sister, Yoon-ah, calls him, but he declines the call. Seol-Ah also takes notice of this. In the next scene, we see Seol-Ah at her company. Sang-mi approaches her and brings up the upcoming project. She then glances toward Eun-ji's desk and asks what they should do with it. Next, we see Woo-Seok. He, too, is at his company, chatting with insurance claimants. He skillfully ensnares them in his schemes. Just then, his colleague, Yong-soo, approaches him and remarks that Eun-ji's family likely isn't even aware that their daughter had an insurance policy. In the following scene, Woo-Seok visits Eun-ji's mother. He informs her about the policy and assures her that the payout will be processed promptly. The woman responds, "What good is the money to me? If my daughter could be brought back to life, I would gladly give you 5 times that amount." At that moment, Seol-Ah arrives, carrying Eun-ji's belongings. The woman attempts to help her, but then she spots Woo-Seok standing nearby. He steps forward and takes the items from them. The woman suggests, "Let's take these upstairs." The three of them then head upstairs, where they set down the belongings. Eun-ji's mother offers, "I'll go make some tea for both of you." Once she leaves the room, the two of them begin looking around the area. Woo-Seok spots a card and quickly conceals it, ensuring Seol-Ah doesn't see it. Meanwhile, Seol-Ah discovers a diary containing detailed records of Eun-ji's whereabouts, specifically, when and where she used to go. Woo-Seok notices what she is doing and starts to approach her, but she manages to hide the diary before he gets close. The two of them then head back downstairs to speak with Eun-ji's mother. Eun-ji's mother mentions that her daughter used to work on a TV show, adding, "I just don't understand why she went to royal auction." Woo-Seok points out that she was on the verge of making her debut, asking, how could she possibly have committed suicide? She speaks to Seol about this matter. However, Seol claims, "I don't know." Eun-ji's mother recalls a specific scene. Eun-ji had come home one day, weeping bitterly. Her mother approached her and asked, "Why are you crying? Are you still seeing that man?" She then asks Seol about this man, but Seol once again replies, "I don't know." The two of them step outside. There, Woo-Seok remarks to Seol, "You came here to ensure Eun-ji hadn't left anything behind, you must have come to check." She retorts, "Well, you were the one who showed up first." Woo-Seok replies, "I found something. Would you like to see it?" She declines, saying, "I'm not interested. Keep it to yourself. You don't even have the decency to know how to question a mother who has lost her daughter." Having said this, she walks away. After she leaves, Woo-Seok examines the card he had found inside. It turns out to be a business card for the gallery, Sang-jae's restaurant. We then cut to Seo Gang-il, who is also working on this very case. He checks Eun-ji's call history, and a name Sang-jae appears as a common contact. Seo Gang-il speaks to Jae-young, asking, "Who is Sang-jae?" Jae-young replies, "I've already investigated him. The case files are on your desk. He checks the files later. Upon reviewing them, he hurriedly rushes out of the office. In the next scene, we see Woo-Seok. He had previously been chatting with a group of scammers. He is currently in the midst of a conversation with them. The scammers had instructed him to stage a car accident so they could collect the insurance payout. However, Woo-Seok has a different plan in mind. He summons the police and has the scammers arrested. A man who had been waiting for Woo-Seok at the restaurant steps in and takes the scammers into custody. Afterward, Woo-Seok goes inside and speaks with him. Woo-Seok asks, "I had asked you to find out what happened with the case. Did you bring that information?" The police officer nods in affirmation. Later, a scene is shown. It is a video clip. It is revealed that Sang-jae's family was not present at the time. Consequently, they summoned his fiancée, Seol. She arrives, examines the body, and finds that everything appears normal save for one detail. Seol does not shed a single tear upon seeing the body. Later, at her company, Seol gazes at a bracelet. She then recalls a scene from the past, where she and Sang-jae were together on a boat. Both were drinking alcohol. Sang-jae tells her, "Don't worry, I've had the insurance policy cancelled." Later, Seol visits Sunny, who has prepared a meal for her. Although Seol eats the food, leading Sunny to assume she enjoys it, this turns out not to be the case. We subsequently see Seol retreat to the restroom, where she vomits. Meanwhile, we turn our attention to Woo-Seok, who has arrived at the gallery restaurant. He begins making inquiries regarding Sang-jae. He asks a waiter, "Do you know Seol?" The waiter nods and replies, "She was Sang-jae's fiancée." Woo-Seok then mentions the name, Yoon-ji, and shows the waiter a photograph. The waiter confirms, "I know her, she used to visit here as well." Woo-Seok asks, when was the last time she came? The waiter reveals that she had visited just one day prior to Sang-jae's death, adding that Sang-jae didn't seem to care much for her. We are then shown a flashback. Yoon-ji is seated at the restaurant, waiting for Sang-jae. Eventually, Sang-jae arrives. However, the details of their conversation are not revealed. Woo-Seok subsequently leaves the restaurant. As he is departing, he crosses paths with Sang-il, who is just arriving. Woo-Seok heads toward the beach. A short while later, Sang-il joins him there. He strikes up a conversation with Woo-Seok, remarking that Sang-jae and Yoon-ji were involved with one another, yet both have now met their deaths. How is this possible? Woo-Seok remarks, "I never expected that a police officer could make it all the way here. If you had done your job like this earlier, my sister would have been saved. She would have received justice." He then drives away. He recalls a scene involving his sister, Yoo. They were driving together in a car. Yoo asks, "Do you know who my boyfriend is? We're going on a trip soon." Woo-Seok replies, "You've really grown up." Yoo says, "I know, and I think I might actually get married before you do." Later, Woo-Seok visits Soonji's bar. He begins speaking with Seol-ah. He points out that the day before Sang-jae died, she had gone to meet with Yoon-ji. Why would she have gone there? Seol-ah replies, "No matter how close you are to someone, you can never truly know everything about them. I don't know anything about that." Woo-Seok suggests, "I suspect they were having an affair, and you killed them." Seol-ah retorts, "Look at what you're doing. Watch your tongue." Woo-Seok then adds, "Sang-jae died. I received a tip regarding his insurance policy." Seol-ah asks, "Was the tip from Yoon-ji?" Woo-Seok nods in confirmation. Seol-ah states, "I never received the insurance payout. That means I am no longer a subject of your investigation. Stop interrogating me." In the next scene, Seol-ah is at her home. She recalls a specific memory. She had returned home only to find Yoon-ji and Sang-jae being intimate together. At that moment, Yoon-ji spotted Seol-ah and smiled. In the following scene, we see Woo-Seok speaking with Jae-young. He fills him in on the details, explaining that he had spoken with Seol-ah and recounting what she had said. When I mentioned the affair, her reaction suggested she had absolutely no idea that the two of them were seeing each other. She appeared completely innocent, as if she knew nothing at all, or perhaps she was merely deceiving me. This is a case of insurance fraud, much like what happened to my sister. In the next scene, we see Seol arriving at the company. The people around her were whispering about how she had previously torn up Yuji's painting. The two of them had been arguing. We suspect that Seol might be the one who killed Yuji. Seol's boss is also present, and he, too, is discussing the matter. However, none of this seems to faze Seol. In the following scene, we see Yoon-neo busy at work. He is taking photographs of the pieces slated for the royal auction. He also checks the group chat to see what the employees are saying about Seol. His sister, Yoon-ah, approaches him and points out that all the employees are casting suspicion on her. "And what about you? When are you going to start doubting your friend? Stop siding with her. She is merely using you." Yoon-neo replies, "Don't talk like that. Have you forgotten that she was the one who secured your internship for you?" Yoon-ah retorts, "Yes, I know that, but I never asked her to do it. She is using you by leveraging her connection to me." Yoon-neo tells her to stop making such accusations. In the next scene, we see Woo-Seok at the hospital with Chae-rin. He explains to her what her mother intends to do with her body, how she keeps inflicting injuries upon her. Her mother continuously collects payouts from Chae-rin's insurance policy, occasionally handing over a portion of the money to her. "Please forgive me. I should have come sooner, but I promise you now, I will protect you." Later, he speaks with Yong-soo. He was asking to arrange a poster large enough to accommodate a prominent image of Chae-rin. Just then, he receives a phone call. He is informed that referencing his previous inquiries about Seol, they have discovered another insurance policy registered in his name. In the next scene, we see Woo-Seok together with Yong-soo and his boss. They were currently investigating the very insurance policy about which Woo-Seok had just received a phone call. The policy had been taken out by a psychiatrist named Young-ho, and the payout was designated to go to Seol-ah. However, Young-ho passed away, yet, prior to his death, he had cancelled the insurance policy. Woo-Seok points out, "Look, the exact same thing happened in the Sang-jae case. The policy was cancelled then, and the situation is identical in this case as well. Seol-ah is orchestrating all of this. She must be the one who killed both of them." Neil counters that they lack any concrete evidence. Furthermore, the crucial point remains that Seol-ah never received the payout. Woo-Seok arrives at the hospital and begins making inquiries about Jing. However, no one offers him any information. Meanwhile, a nurse named Mayan, who happens to be nearby, notices him observing the area. Woo-Seok, in turn, notices her watching him. Later that evening, as Mayan is leaving for home, she encounters Woo-Seok waiting for her. He says, "I'd like to speak with you. Could you spare me a minute?" Mayan agrees. We then see Mayan eating a meal quite calmly as she shares details about Young-ho. Mayan reveals that Seol-ah previously had a boyfriend, but he was killed by terrorists. She had sought out Young-ho to undergo therapy. Woo-Seok asks, "Are you certain she had a boyfriend before that? Who was he? What was his name?" Mayan, however, replies, "I don't know." That night, we see Seol-ah at the company office. She is in possession of the notes that had been found with Eun-ji documents containing all the latest updates regarding the case. She begins systematically destroying them, feeding them into a machine to shred them into pieces. Just then, Eun-ho arrives to see her. She quickly hides the notes. Eun-ho remarks, "Sang-jae had spoken to me about the insurance policy some time ago." He asks her if she had received a payout, but she denies it and asks, "Why are you asking?" He replies, "Just out of curiosity." Later, he asks her, "Did you truly love him?" Seol-ah approaches him and says, "What kind of things are you saying? I thought you would be on my side, but clearly, you aren't. I don't want to talk to you anymore," and she walks away. In the next scene, we see Woo-Seok at his home. He has created a chart featuring photos of Sang-jae and Young-ho. He has already identified 2 boyfriends, now he wonders, who could the third boyfriend be? What is his name? Later, he begins watching a video depicting a terrorist attack in Syria. He was watching this specifically to gather information about Seol-ah's first boyfriend. In the following scene, we see Sang-mi approaching Seol-ah to inform her, someone has delivered a painting. They insisted that you simply must see it. Seol-ah comes to view it. The painting depicts a scene in Syria and features a child. Upon seeing it, she recoils in shock. Sang-mi remains unaware of what has just transpired. Later, Seol-ah is inside, examining various photographs projected onto a screen. Outside, we see Woo-Seok, who has secretly snuck onto the premises. Seol-ah tells him, "You have no business being here. You may leave." Woo-Seok then recounts the entire story from beginning to end, explaining exactly what must have happened. Your boyfriend was in Syria. He loved you deeply, which is why he took out an insurance policy for your benefit. However, he later cancelled it and subsequently passed away. Witnessing all of this drove you into a deep depression. You required therapy, so you sought help from the psychiatrist, Young-Oh. He, too, fell in love with you. He also took out an insurance policy only to cancel it later. And he, too, passed away. Later, Shang-jae, the owner of the restaurant, fell in love with you. He, too, took out an insurance policy for your benefit, but he met his end as well. The policy was subsequently cancelled, and you received no payout whatsoever. Why do you suppose that happened? Although I cannot say for certain, there is one common thread running through all these events. Anyone who falls in love with you ends up dead. Am I right? They likely perceived you as an innocent, pitiable soul, that is why they fell for you. And as we know, those who fall in love become blind, they lose all awareness of what they are doing. Consequently, those poor souls met a tragic end. Seol-Ah approaches him and asks, "Alright, then who do you think is going to be next?" He responds, "What do you mean?" Seol-Ah replies, "Who will be the next person to fall in love with me, and subsequently die?" He simply stares at her in silence as the episode comes to a close. We will meet again in episode 3. Until then, goodbye. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.